say some of the defining characteristics of Heaps is number one, the creating together. Everything is hands-on with everyone who's a part of the creation. Being co-equal with each other is something that just kind of came naturally. I don't think it was ever really an intention we set out with. I think that we have been intentional with it. But our intention with being collaborative sprouted from a natural instinct to work on things together.
Specifically with songwriting, like no one comes with a finished song. You know, a lot of the time it will come with one idea, and then the four of us contribute our instruments, other instruments, and just what we're feeling.
As a band, Heaps, we're really open to each other's ideas. A lot of the times I have like an idea, I record like in my room, and then I bring it to one of the guys. A lot of times it could be Warren, because he writes most of the melodies, and then we just pick the song apart, and then we make it like a whole unit and a whole kind of piece.
Rolling video.
Don't worry about it.
Get the clap. All right.
It comes into play with the sound in terms of everyone's ideas are valid from the outset. So there's no prescribed, this is what we do and this is how we do it mode of working in that can be sometimes really helpful but often really limiting. In the case of Heaps, it was, let's see what works and let's hear what everyone has to offer and let's decide what's best from there. And as a result, it's sort of, the sonics all took shape as we went through the process.
The goal is, this might put me out of my box of what I would do or what I think is right, and it might not make me feel great, but I think there's just this excitement to try something that you wouldn't naturally do, because over time we've seen that leaning on each other in areas that might push us takes us to a different level.
I think we generally have an organization and a workflow and friendships with each other and relationships with each other where we want to hear what the other person has to say because we trust what the other person has to say, and we want all voices to have value. I think that's what I'd attribute to any uniqueness we have. I think I'd attribute our uniqueness to, we want voices to be heard, we want to encourage voices to speak, and no idea is off the table, but every idea is going to be critiqued.
In every video I've ever posted in the past 3 years, or anything I post, SoundCloud link, I always hashtag Will Shaw.
Will Shaw fans, ooh, thankfully.
Heaps from the start was a change that was a liberation from restraints that we had, whether they were totally inside our heads or not. That's where it started. So now it's been amplified by the discovery of let's just abandon fear and go and work really hard at what we want to do. But we were fully in this place where with our music before, we thought, oh, we have to keep making this. This is it. If we don't make this, we're going to fail. As a collective, we need to be in a place where we feel that we can pursue what we want, because that's when we're going to create the best product possible.
I think all the guys, we're kind of just happy to be in this chapter of our creative careers, to write whatever we want to write. We can be transparent with each other if we like a song or if we don't like a song. It's just been a great transition from the Kents, which was more pop based. Maybe it was a genre thing, but I think overall we've changed for the better in terms of being more, open with each other and writing more honestly.
We just don't want any hesitation, and I think we're a band that just writes music for ourselves. We're not really trying to please anyone, which I think is important.
Do I say this in an Australian accent? What is Heaps? Yeah, the band, actually, I guess it was a year and a half, I think, before we actually started recording and doing production and things like that, that the band reached out. And, immediately I was interested. The stuff that they had done before was interesting. It was definitely something that was a little bit different than what I generally would have been working on, I guess. But with the sort of precursor from the band that they were looking to change things a bit. They were looking to become more of a band and less of this sort of production type thing, and looking to the references they had given me, the new songs that they had sent to me. It just really kind of struck a chord, and yeah, it was just something that I was interested in being a part of the change.
Look at that.
Oh, whoa.
Nature has provided you the
You
perfect.
get that from the gift shop somewhere. It says Port Hope on it.
I see the shacks.
They were bad.
Music isn't just about playing music as well. It's this whole palette of creative stuff that we do. Pictures, photo shoots, videos like we're doing right now, music videos. It's a whole collage of creative ideas. And for us, picking each other's brains on who does what best and creating this like whole uniform project Heaps is like a really special thing to us. It's this whole creative business creative entity that we hold as a group.
In this past time of, being in a pandemic and not being able to play shows, is realizing how much work we can each put in, and also realizing how much content we can create when we're not just relying on playing shows and doing a music video with somebody. We've definitely all worked harder in this past 4 months or whatever and I think it's great that we've been able to come up with all these ideas of things that we've never really done before. Being like an animated lyric video, we've never done that. Making a zine, we never really did that. Doing a music video ourselves, like all these things. I feel like having this time to create content has pulled things out of each of us that we didn't expect we would have been able to do. And I think we just stepped out of our comfort zone huge to create things that we wouldn't usually create on our own.
It's taken away that fear of failure, and it's helped us to realize that like everything we're doing is just like pushing us to that next step as creators. It's going to bleed into the next record that we make, because we're going to go into it conceptually being like, oh, we can make these songs and we can do this video concept with it, we can do this zine. So it's informing our art in a way that we would never have done before, because all we did was delegate work. So I think that the kind of isolation has forced us to become better artists while making us just harder workers. With COVID and the identity of the band, I don't know if we are going to be the band that we initially thought, because we've had to do so much on our own now.
Beautiful thing which Heaps is turning out to be is a lot more of an open community for collaboration. The worst thing to come in with Heaps is to bring your ego, or is to bring, I had the set agenda and that's what's going to happen. And that's where we really shrink away. And I think that's where we get to our unhealthiest as well, is when we're trying to deal with ego, when we're trying to deal with somebody trying to get their way no matter what. Just doesn't fit with how the workflow goes. I think working with the Hazy Shores zine and Worry in the context of, I think that opened up another area to Heaps. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I think the more we open up the Heaps collaborative effort to everyone who actually engages with the project, then I think that's going to be where we also get our best stuff. Because if Heaps is this collaborative effort, if Heaps is this no ego place of where people bring their ideas and put forward this piece of art for people to interact with and to connect with, opening that up to people who listen to the music and appreciate the music and allow and bring a space where other voices can be heard other than ourselves as well. I'm intrigued to see if that's going to continue with Heaps, and if that will be as invigorating for us as it was with the Worry in the context of zine.
My answer to the question, what is Heaps, is it's a group of individuals working together to make something special. Everything sort of falls under that category.
In terms of the music, I see Heaps as we're a band that's trying not to sound like anybody else.
To me, it's a new rebirth of what that original band wanted to change into and saw inside of themselves, and Heaps is just the amalgamation of that, all those changes we went through as the other band.
At its core, it's a band. It's a collective of 4 people that value equality in their creative process. I think that's, the most important thing to everything else within the band. And it's also kind of like an action, like it's a progression for this unit. It's the next step.
This is an important change for us as a band and as a collective. It's something that we really wanted to do as a creative group. It's up for interpretation as well. It's something that we're really proud of. As a collective, we're really proud of this record. So we call ourselves art rock, but I mean it's up for interpretation.
I would say at the end of the day, Heaps is a collaboration of co-equal creators who make art together.